I stand at my office window, watching Seattle's skyline shimmer through the afternoon mist. 43 floors up, the world looks ordered, predictable, everything my life wasn't supposed to be. My reflection stares back at me. Tailored navy suit, chestnut hair pulled back in a low bun. The carefully constructed armor I've built over 25 years. Behind me, NovaCore Systems hums with productivity 60 employees, national clients, and the quiet pride of something built from nothing. My phone buzzes against the glass desk, rattling like a warning. Unknown number, Kentucky area code. My hand trembles as I decline the call, the only crack in my carefully maintained composure. The voicemail notification pops up instantly, as if they knew I wouldn't answer, as if they've been waiting. Tessa, it's Camille. My sister's voice slices through 25 years of silence. I know you blocked me, but this is important. Mom and Dad need to talk to you. The words hit me like a physical blow. AM, Mom and Dad need to talk to you. _ Just like that, I'm 18 again. The New Mexico sun beats down mercilessly as I step out of the dingy Greyhound Station convenience store, a lukewarm Coke in my hand. I scan the parking lot, confused. The beige family Buick is gone, the spot where Dad parked now empty and shimmering with heat. My stomach drops as I pull out my flip phone. One new message. Time to grow up. My mother's text reads, "Let's see how you figure things out." I call. No answer. Again. Straight to voicemail. I wait under the meager shade of a stunted tree, watching buses come and go. 2. My fair skin burns pink, then angry red. My $88 in cash feels suddenly, terrifyingly inadequate. The convenience store clerk eyes me suspiciously when I ask to use their phone. Uncle Malcolm answers on the second ring. They left me here, I whisper, my voice cracking. I don't know why. I blink the memory away, forcing myself back to the present. My office, my company, my life. On my desk sits the only family photo I display, Uncle Malcolm and me at my college graduation. His arm around my shoulders, both of us beaming. The family you choose, _ he always says. I wouldn't have any of this without him. The GED, community college while working 2 jobs. That first coding gig where I slept under my desk some nights to get the project done. NovaCore starting in Malcolm's garage with borrowed equipment and desperate determination. I press the voicemail button, Camille's voice filling the room again. They're going to lose everything if you don't help. I delete it, but more messages flood in throughout the day. Email aliases I've never seen. Burner numbers, then Sarah, my marketing director, rushes in without knocking, her face pale. Tessa, you need to see this. She holds out her tablet. A Facebook post from my mother gone viral. Our daughter made millions and left us in poverty after all our sacrifices. While we struggled to keep her home, she lives in luxury. We only wanted the best for her. Where did we go wrong? The comments scroll by. Ungrateful daughter, heartless. How could anyone do this to their parents? _ My jaw tightens. The audacity of them to rewrite history. To make themselves the victims. There's more, Sarah says quietly. Westbrook's pulling out. Westbrook, our biggest client. The foundation of NovaCore's stability. Their PR department saw the post. They're concerned about the optics. I turn back to the window. My reflection now is strangers. 25 years of silence. 25 years of building something from nothing. 25 years of believing I was finally free. But I was wrong. Sarah hovers behind me. What do you want me to do? What would you do if the family who abandoned you suddenly demanded your help? Would you show mercy or stand your ground? I straighten my shoulders and turn to face her. Call David. Tell him to meet us in the conference room in 30 minutes. My voice is steady, surprising even me. And Sarah? Pull everything we have on filial responsibility laws in Kentucky. The family that abandoned me at a bus station with $88 in a sunburn wants my help now. But this time, I'm not the one who'll be left standing alone in the heat. The conference room carries a funeral atmosphere, 7 executives sit around the glossy table, no one touching the coffee or pastries. Their faces reflect what I already know. We're hemorrhaging. Westbrook was just the beginning, David says, sliding a tablet toward me. His tailored suit can't hide the tension in his shoulders. 3 more clients have concerns. Apparently, your mother's quite the storyteller. Sarah taps the screen. She's given 3 interviews since yesterday. Local Kentucky press, but they're getting pickup. My phone buzzes again the 15th time in an hour. I silence it without looking. Email notifications stack on my laptop screen like falling dominoes. Your sister's persistent, Sarah murmurs, eyeing my phone. Half-sister. I correct automatically. The distinction matters, though I can't articulate why. Marcus from cybersecurity clears his throat. We traced those threatening emails. They're coming from your parents' home IP address. He hesitates. There's more. They've hired a PR consultant, someone who specializes in viral sympathy campaigns. The revelation lands like a physical blow. This isn't impulsive, it's calculated. David slides a legal envelope across the table. This arrived by courier 20 minutes ago. Pennsylvania law firm citing filial responsibility statutes. I stare at the envelope without touching it. They're in Kentucky. Pennsylvania has the strongest filial laws in the country. They're trying to establish precedent. The room blurs slightly at the edges as I process what this means. They aren't just after money, they're after legitimacy. A court ruling that says, yes, this daughter owes these parents. Yes, their narrative is correct. We've got your back, Tessa, Sarah says, her voice cutting through the static in my head. I nod once, picking up the envelope. I need an hour. My apartment feels both sanctuary and prison tonight. Floor-to-ceiling windows frame Seattle's lights, but I see nothing but ghosts. I've kicked off my heels, shed my blazer. The expensive wine I poured sits untouched. The first sob catches me, by surprise, violent thing that tears from somewhere primal. I sink to the floor, back against the cool wall, and let 25 years of carefully contained grief escape. I'm 18 again, standing on Malcolm's porch. One backpack. Sunburned face streaked with tears. Dust from the bus station still on my shoes. Malcolm opens the door, gray hair rumpled from sleep. His eyes widen, taking in my state. They left me, I whisper, the words barely audible. He doesn't ask questions, doesn't demand explanations, just opens his arms, and I collapse into them like the child I still am. Later, hands wrapped around hot cocoa at his kitchen table, he says the words that will become my foundation. Their failure isn't yours to carry, Tessa. The memory steadies me. I reach for my phone, dialing the number I know by heart. You okay, kiddo? Malcolm's voice, though thinner with age, remains the steadiest thing I know. They're coming after me, I say. Publicly, legally. They want everything. A pause, then his weathered laugh. Remember what I told you the day you started NovaCore? The truth always rises. Like cream, I finish, a smile cracking through tears. Or bodies, he adds darkly. Depends on what you're fishing for. David arrives at my apartment an hour later with takeout I didn't ask for and legal pads I definitely need. He's been my lawyer for 15 years, my friend for nearly as long. The coordination is what concerns me most, he says, spreading documents across my dining table. The PR consultant, the legal strategy, the social media campaign all launched within days of each other. This isn't just parents missing their daughter, Tessa. This is manipulation wrapped in guilt. I stare at the printouts of my mother's tearful face on a local news segment. The caption, abandoned parents seek reconciliation with millionaire daughter. I won't be abandoned twice, I say, my voice steadier than I feel. First by them, now by the truth. David's phone pings. His face darkens as he reads the message. Fairweather Capital is getting nervous. They're considering withdrawing their investment. My chest tightens. Fairweather represents 30% of our operating capital. Without them, expansion plans crumble. Jobs disappear. Everything I've built teeters on the edge. My phone buzzes. Camille again. Just listen for once, her voicemail pleads. They're spiraling. I didn't know they'd go this far. Please, Tessa. Before I can process this, my phone rings again. Malcolm's doctor. My blood runs cold. The hospital room is too bright, too sterile. Malcolm's skin looks paper-thin against white sheets, monitors beeping steadily beside him. Stubborn old fool, I whispered, taking his hand. His eyes flutter open, takes one to no one. His voice is weak, but the wry smile is pure Malcolm. The doctor says your heart has been through worse. He squeezes my fingers. This stress isn't helping either of us. Guilt washes over me. They're coming after everything, Malcolm. He steadies my face with eyes that have always seen straight through me. Some folks only learn their story when someone tells it back to them. He pauses for breath. Maybe it's time they heard yours. I rest my forehead against our clasped hands. Have you ever paid a price for speaking your truth or staying silent? His thumb brushes my knuckles. Every day since I picked up that phone at 2 a.m. and heard you crying from a bus station, and every day I'd pay it again. I raise my head, something resolving within me. It's time they heard the real story. I hit send at 5:43 a.m., that liminal space between night and morning when the world feels eerily still. My statement sits in the digital ether for exactly 8 seconds before the first notification pings. Then another. Then a flood. The truth I've carried for 25 years now exists outside of me. At age 18, I was abandoned by my parents at a Greyhound bus station in New Mexico with $88 in cash. No warning, no explanation. Just a text message telling me to grow up. I survived because of the kindness of my uncle and my own determination. I built NovaCore systems from nothing but hard work and resilience. The recent social media posts from my estranged parents claiming I abandoned them in their time of need are false. This is an attempt to manipulate me financially after 25 years of no contact. I've chosen to break my silence because truth matters. 3 paragraphs. 104 words that took 25 years to write. My phone buzzes against the desk. CNN, then ABC, then local outlets. The old fear rises in my chest, that familiar tightness from years of keeping secrets. But something else rises alongside it. Something steadier. Dawn breaks over Seattle's skyline as I watch reactions pour in. The narrative shifts like tectonic plates beneath the digital landscape. Wait, they left their teenager at a bus station? Who abandons their child and then expects payouts when she succeeds? This explains why she donates so much to youth homelessness programs. David calls at 7. The tide's turning, Tessa. People recognize the truth when they see it. I don't feel victorious, just visible. After decades of invisibility, the sensation is disorienting. The intercom buzzes at 9:17. Marcus from security, his voice strained. Miss Donovan, there are 2 individuals in the lobby claiming to be your parents. They're causing a scene. Should I? Pull up the cameras, I say, my voice steady. I want to see them. The security feed fills my monitor. There they are, 25 years older but unmistakable. My mother's hair, once chestnut like mine, now silver and styled in an expensive bob. She's dabbing at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. My father stands rigidly beside her, his jaw clenched exactly as I remember. The pose of righteous indignation he perfected during my childhood. They're demanding to see you, Marcus continues. Security is prepared to remove them, but Mr. Jacobs thought you should be notified first. 25 years since I've seen them. 25 years since they drove away from that bus station, leaving me alone with a sunburn and a future they never expected me to build. I'll be right down. The elevator descent gives me time to notice what isn't happening. My hands aren't shaking. My breath remains steady. The familiar tightness in my chest has dissolved into something else, calm certainty that feels foreign yet fitting. The elevator doors open to a lobby, fallen silent. My employees stand frozen, eyes darting between the commotion near the entrance and my steady approach. Sarah materializes at my side, her loyalty a physical presence. You don't have to do this, she whispers. I know, but I do. 25 years of silence ends today. I cross the marble expanse, each step deliberate on the polished surface. My mother spots me first, her performance instantly amplifying. Tessa! She reaches toward me, voice breaking with practiced fragility. My baby, we've missed you so. I stop 10 feet away, a safe distance. My father's eyes narrow, the calculator behind them, still visible after all these years. You left me at a Greyhound station with $88, I say, my voice clear in the silent lobby. That wasn't parenting, that was abandonment. My mother's face shifts, the mask of maternal concern sliding just enough to reveal the hardness beneath. You were impossible, my father hisses, disrespectful. We taught you a lesson about gratitude. By abandoning me, the words emerge without heat. That wasn't a lesson, it was a crime. We're your parents, my mother says, her voice rising. After everything we sacrificed. Security will escort you out, I interrupt. Any further communication needs to go through my attorney. I turn to leave when my father lunges forward, grabbing my wrist. The touch his skin against mine after 25 years feels like an electric shock. You ungrateful little. Marcus steps between us instantly. 2 security guards materialize. My father's grip loosens. Don't contact me again, I say quietly. This conversation is over. I walk back toward the elevator, aware of every eye following me. The doors close on the sound of my mother's theatrical sobs. Back in my office, I notice what still isn't happening. My hands remain steady. No trembling, no fear. The realization is almost disorienting. I close my eyes and see another place, another timey first night in a homeless shelter, before Malcolm found me. An elderly volunteer with kind eyes and a worn Bible sitting beside my cot. Your worth isn't based on who stays, honey, she'd said, passing me a scratchy blanket. It's based on who shows up for you, including yourself. I opened my eyes to find my inbox flooding with new messages. Not reporters this time. Regular people. Strangers sharing their own stories of family abandonment, of rebuilding, of finding strength. Thank you for telling the truth. I thought I was the only one. You gave me courage to face my own family. David and the legal team arrive for our scheduled meeting, faces grim with determination. PR follows with statistics on public sentiment. Malcolm calls, his voice proud. Found a box in my attic yesterday, he says. Your old bus ticket, that cell phone with the text messages. Even your diary from those first weeks. Kept everything, just in case. Just in case the truth ever needed witnesses. We're filing for a restraining order today, David says, spreading papers across my desk. And pressing harassment charges. I sign where indicated. My signature fluid and unhesitating. Sarah leans against the window frame, watching me. People believe you because you're not out for revenge. You're just standing in your truth. Outside, Seattle continues its mid-morning bustle. Inside, I feel the weight of 25 years shifting. I just won't be erased again, I say quietly. Not by them, not by anyone, not ever again. What happens when you finally confront the people who hurt you most? Does strength show up all at once here in moments? For me, it arrived not in thunder but in silence. Not in vengeance, but in simply standing unmoved in the face of the storm. In finding, against all odds, that I was enough. I watch my truth unfold across screens throughout America. My marketing team has set up a command center in the conference room, 6 monitors tracking media mentions, social engagement, and public sentiment. The evidence-backed statement we crafted sits at the center of a digital hurricane. Co just picked it up, Sarah says, her voice tight with controlled excitement. CEO speaks out on childhood abandonment. They're running it at the top of the hour. David nudges his glasses higher on his nose. The statement is performing exactly as we anticipated. Clear, factual, undeniable. On screen 3, screenshots of my mother's texts fade in and out. The convenience store clerk's notarized statement appears next, this recollection of a sunburned teenager using his phone after being stranded. And finally, Uncle Malcolm's testimony, his voice steady, as he describes the night I arrived at his door, with nothing but a backpack and terror in my eyes. My phone vibrates against the conference table. A Kentucky number, not Camille this time. Their lawyer, David says, leaning forward to look at the caller ID. Want me to take it? I shake my head and answer on speaker. Tessa Donovan. Miss Donovan, this is Lawrence Pritchard representing Gerald and Mary Ann Donovan. We're demanding you cease and desist these slanderous statements immediately. My clients were dealing with a troubled teen. Mr. Pritchard, I interrupt, my voice ice, cold but steady. Everything in my statement is documented. If your clients dispute the facts, they're welcome to explain in court how leaving an 18-year-old at a bus station with $88 constitutes responsible parenting. The silence stretches before he disconnects without another word. David's small smile tells me everything I need to know. The first battle is ours. Camille calls that night as I'm pouring a glass of Cabernet in my kitchen. The Seattle skyline glitters on my windows, a constellation of lights holding nothing of the past. I answer against my better judgment. They remortgaged the house to fund this fight, she says without preamble, her voice raw. They took out loans. I didn't know they'd go this far. I set the wine glass down untouched. And that's my responsibility. How? Tessa, please. They're our parents. They stopped being my parents the moment they drove away from that bus station. The words come automatically now, no longer dragging pain behind them. Did you know they were planning this? Her silence is answer enough. The tabloids are calling, I continue, glancing at my laptop where another headline screams. Tech CEO's secret past. The troubled teen years her company doesn't want you to know about. They're selling stories, I say. Lies about drug use, shoplifting things that never happened. Camille's breathing quickens. They need money, Tessa. They saw your company in Forbes and decided I was an ATM. I finish her sentence, then add, tell them they picked the wrong daughter to con. The truth doesn't need armor, Camille, just daylight. I end the call and send a text to my PR team. Launch phase 2. 3 days later, David strides into my office, grinning. Lawsuit dismissed. Judge cited no factual basis and frivolous filing. They can't touch you legally. I nod, but there's no triumph in it, only the hollow recognition of a necessary step. My phone pings with a message from Camille. Their church group asked them not to attend service until this is resolved. Dad's furious. Before I can respond, another text arrives. I should have told you sooner. They saw your company in Forbes 6 months ago. Started planning that night. The betrayal isn't new, just confirmed. I text back. I can help them find therapy. Not money, never money. Her response comes quickly. It was never about your money for me. I need to tell you something. Can we talk? That evening, Camille's face on my laptop screen is haggard, eyes puffy from crying. I knew they left you there. She whispers, the confession pouring out after 25 years. I was in the back seat. I stayed quiet. We drove away, and I just stayed quiet. I watch her crumble through the screen, thousands of miles between us, but the pain immediate and raw. The sister who was golden to my tarnished, the one they kept. I've carried it every day since, she continues. I should have called you, should have done something. I want to hate her. But the weight of hatred is a luxury I abandoned years ago. Why now, Camille? Why the confession after all this time? She wipes her eyes. Because they're not who I thought they were, and I'm not who they made me. Before I can respond, my phone lights up Malcolm's number. My stomach drops when I hear his nurse's voice. Tessa, you need to come. Your parents showed up at the house, and Malcolm collapsed. We're at Swedish Medical Center. The rage I feel is pure, clarifying. I grab my car keys with steady hands. Camille, I have to go. They showed up at Malcolm's. He's in the ER. Her sharp intake of breath. Tessa, I'm so sorry. Save it, I tell her, already moving toward the door. This ends now. At Malcolm's bedside, his hand feels fragile in mine. Tubes and monitors surround him, but his eyes are clear when they find me. I'm filing for a permanent restraining order, I tell him, against all of them. He squeezes my hand weakly. They can't take anything from you now, he whispers. I rest my forehead against our clasped hands. They never could. Not what matters. Outside his hospital room, I make the call to David. When the real family is at risk, there's no longer room for doubt. Sometimes, forgiveness isn't healing. It's just another form of self-harm. I enter the courtroom like a surgeon approaching the operating table, steady hands, clear mind, everything unnecessary stripped away. My charcoal pantsuit offers no distractions. Hair pulled back in a simple chignon. No jewelry except Malcolm's watch. The gallery buzzes with whispers that fall silent as the double doors swing open. My parents enter me, mother in a wheelchair she didn't need last week. Her silver hair freshly styled, face arranged in practiced suffering. Dad pushes her, his shoulders hunched in a posture of dutiful martyrdom. Our eyes meet across the room, 25 years distilled into a single glance. Their lawyer approaches the bench first, Bible references prepared like ammunition. Your Honor, family should forgive. Honor thy father and mother, miss. Donovan has built an empire while her parents struggle to keep their modest home. Is this how we reward those who raised us? Judge Harmon, 60-something, with eyes that have seen every trick, adjusts her glasses. Before we continue, I'd like clarity on something. She taps her screen. According to these filings, Miss Donovan alleges she was abandoned at age 18 at a bus station in New Mexico. Is this accurate? My parents' lawyer shifts his weight. Your Honor, those were difficult times. Tough love was. I asked a simple question. Judge Harmon's voice cuts like steel through butter. Did they abandon their daughter at a bus station? The courtroom holds its breath. On the projector screen, my evidence appears: the bus ticket stub, the time-stamped text message, the convenience store security camera still showing the Buick pulling away. Silence falls so complete I can hear the clock ticking on the wall. My father's composure cracks first, his face flushing crimson. She needed to learn respect, always thinking she was smarter than everyone, questioning everything we said. Gerald, their lawyer warns, but the dam has broken. We gave her everything. Dad's voice rises. And she couldn't follow simple rules. Thought she knew better than her own parents. My mother's wheelchair performance dissolves as she stands, finger pointing at me. We sacrificed everything for her. And she was ungrateful, always so ungrateful. Judge Harmon watches with the calm of someone who's seen this transformation before the moment when the mask slips and truth emerges. She wouldn't even go to the college we chose. My mother continues, voice shrill. Wouldn't date the nice Peterson boy. Always had to do things her way. I remain still, hands folded in my lap. The court reporter's fingers fly across her keyboard. My lawyer slides a document toward the judge. Your Honor, we've obtained financial records showing Mr. and Mrs. Donovan took out a second mortgage on their home 6 months after Miss Donovan was featured in Forbes. Bank records show significant gambling withdrawals at Riverbend Casino in the weeks following. My mother's face contorts. That's private information. Not when you make your finances the center of a public harassment campaign, Judge Harmon says, reviewing the documents. When my turn comes to speak, I stand. The wooden railing feels solid beneath my hands. Your Honor, I don't want revenge. I want freedom. My voice sounds foreign to my ears, steady, clear. For 25 years, I've built a life without them. I need them to build theirs without me. Judge Harmon studies me for a long moment. Miss Donovan, do you wish to pursue damages for the harassment campaign? No. The word falls simply. Just a permanent restraining order, that's all. She nods, then turns to my parents. The court grants the permanent restraining order. Any contact direct, through third parties, or via social media will result in criminal charges. She taps her gavel. We're adjourned. My father's face darkens to purple. You're dead to us. He spits as security approaches. I gather my papers, leaning slightly toward the bailiff beside me. I have been for 25 years. Malcolm's living room smells of cedar and coffee. I set the hand-carved chess set on his coffee table, the one I bought him last Christmas. Outside, autumn paints his maple tree gold and crimson. You look different, he says, blue eyes studying me over reading glasses. I feel different. I move a pawn forward, lighter. His weathered hands arrange the pieces with practiced care. Some people only know how to take, he says quietly. They never learned how to love. My phone buzzes. A news alert. My parents' house enters foreclosure next week. I set the phone face down without comment. I paid your medical bills, I say after he takes my night. All of them. He looks up sharply. Tessa, don't argue, it's done. I capture his bishop. No speeches about it either. Malcolm smiles, the corners of his eyes crinkling. Stubborn girl. Learned from the best. I refill his tea without asking. Outside, leaves drift downward, their hold finally released. Their journey to the ground isn't a fall, I think, but a return. A coming home to what matters. Justice isn't revenge. It's the quiet victory of finally being heard. And sometimes, it's the freedom to choose where you belong. I drive past my childhood home on a crisp autumn morning, 6 months after the courthouse reckoning. The Kentucky Colonial that once loomed in my nightmares looks smaller now, less imposing. New owners have painted the shutters a cheerful yellow instead of my mother's insistent black. Children's bicycles sprawl across the lawn my father once measured with a ruler before mowing. My rental car idles at the curb. I expected something, a stab of pain, a flash of anger, but there's nothing except a quiet observation. This place holds no power over me anymore. A little girl waves from the porch, probably wondering why a stranger is watching her home. I wave back, then open my phone and delete the final contact still labeled family. Camille will know how to reach me. The rest they belong to a closed chapter. I pull away with a smile tugging at my lips, heading toward Malcolm's. The knot that's lived between my shoulder blades for 25 years has finally unraveled. To the chef. Malcolm raises his margarita glass across the table at Senor Pepper's, the Mexican restaurant where we've celebrated every milestone since my first programming job. The salt rim catches the light as he grins at me, his silver hair wild as ever, his eyes bright with mischief and pride. I laugh, the sound bubbling up from somewhere deep and unguarded. The chef just microwaved pre-made enchiladas. Then to microwaves, he amends without missing a beat. And to choosing your family. We clink glasses. The familiar sounds of the restaurant's sizzling fajita platters, Spanish music. Conversations wash over us like a comfortable tide. 6 months ago, I couldn't eat without nausea. Now, I'm on my second basket of chips. You're different, Malcolm observes, steadying me over his glass. Good different. Free different. Before I can respond, the lights dim. Sarah leads a procession of familiar faces Mi Nova Corps team carrying a massive tres leches cake with an absurd number of candles. What's this? I ask, genuinely surprised. David, my lawyer and friend, sets down the cake. 6-month anniversary of regaining your peace. We thought it deserved recognition. They sing an off-key rendition of For She's a Jolly Good Fellow while Malcolm beams beside me. I don't wipe away my tears. I don't hide my smile. I just let myself be seen. The Nova Corps Foundation office hums with activity across the hall from our main headquarters. What started as a personal project now has 3 full-time employees vetting scholarship applications and coordinating mentorship programs for young adults abandoned by family homeless teens, foster system graduates, those cut off for being LGBTQ+. I read the letter again before adding it to our testimonial wall. Your story gave me permission to protect myself. I always thought I had to forgive them to heal. You showed me I could just walk forward instead and build something new. Thank you for saying out loud what so many of us couldn't, end quote. My phone buzzes with a text from Camille. 6 months in therapy, learning who I am without them. Thank you for the recommendation. The silence is deafening and wonderful. I send back a simple heart. Some bridges can be rebuilt. Others should remain crossed just once. Sunset bathes my balcony in amber light, the Seattle skyline a glittering promise against the darkening sky. I curl into my outdoor chair, a glass of Cabernet on the side table, quarterly reports untouched beside it. They can wait until morning. My phone rings. Once, the sound triggered instant dread. Now I check the screen without tensing a potential new client recommended by Westbrook, who returned with a larger contract after the truth emerged. I answer with a smile in my voice. Tessa Donovan. As I discuss expansion possibilities with the prospective client, I watch the sunset fade to twilight. I'm not running anymore. I'm free. Later, I place fresh dahlias, Malcolm's late wife's favorite, beside the framed photo of teenage me and Malcolm at my GED ceremony. The girl in the picture looks shell-shocked but determined, her second-hand dress neatly pressed, her eyes simultaneously wounded and defiant. I touch my heart gently. We did it, I whisper to her. The doorbell chimes me friends arriving for our monthly dinner. Laughter spills into my home as I welcome them, the space filling with connection, freely chosen, freely given. Your worth isn't measured by who stays. It's revealed by who you become when they leave. The copper wire winds around my fingers like an old friend as I secure the final connection in the breaker panel. Christmas music drifts from the small radio perched on my toolbox, Nat King Cole crooning about chestnuts and open fires. My hands, weathered from a decade of handling tools and climbing ladders, move with practiced precision, despite the early December chill, seeping through the unfinished walls. I stand back, examining my work. The panel looks perfect, each wire neatly labeled, every connection tight. This townhouse renovation will pass inspection with flying colors. My phone buzzes in my back pocket. Mom's name flashes across the screen. A familiar mix of hope and wariness tightens my chest. Hi, Mom. Maya, dear. Her voice carries that particular wilt she reserves for difficult conversations. Do you have a minute to talk about Christmas dinner? I wipe my hands on my work pants, leaving faint smudges of copper. Sure. What's the plan this year? A pause stretches between us, too long to be comfortable. My stomach knots. Well, Mom says, finally clearing her throat, that's why I'm calling. We're doing something different this year. Miles's parents are visiting, and we want to keep it more formal. The word formal hangs in the air between us. I've heard this tone before, the same one she used when I announced I was enrolling in trade school instead of the business program at CU Boulder. Formal, I repeat, my voice flat. You mean I shouldn't come? Oh, honey, it's not that we don't want to see you. Her voice tightens with practiced sympathy. It's just Miles' parents are very traditional. They're both professors at Yale, and Talia wants to make a good impression. You understand. I close my eyes. The meaning couldn't be clearer. My work boots and calloused hands don't fit their image of success. For a moment, I'm 12 again, sitting at that polished mahogany Christmas table. Dad, beaming as I explain how I fixed the wiring in the ancient train set he'd pulled from the attic. That's my girl, he'd said then, ruffling my hair. Smart as a whip. That pride faded the day I chose trade school, the day Talia became the family's academic hope. I understand, I say, my voice betraying nothing of the fire building behind my ribs. I knew you would. Relief floods her tone. We'll do something after the holidays, just us. Maybe lunch. Maybe. I snap the breaker panel shut with more force than necessary. I should go. I have a client waiting. Of course. Love you, dear. The call ends. I stare at the phone, wondering if she even notices how quick our conversations have become. 2 hours later, I lock the doors to Thompson Electrical. The sun has already dipped below the mountains, but the Christmas lights strung along Main Street cast a cheerful glow across the fresh snow. My business name in professional blue lettering on the glass door gives me a burst of satisfaction that dulls the ache of the earlier call. Inside, I flip through the day's invoices before opening my laptop. The spreadsheet glows with healthy numbers, commercial contracts, residential calls, a growing list of references from satisfied clients. Not bad for a business that just celebrated its second anniversary. I open my banking app and navigate to the recurring transfers. There it is, the payment confirmation for Talia's fall semester. $17,400. Sent directly to the university bursar's office 2 months ago. As always, $17,000. More than half of what I'll make this quarter. Enough to cover the down payment on that warehouse space I've been eyeing to expand the business. But it paid for Talia's education instead. Talia, who apparently doesn't want her boyfriend's parents to know her sister is an electrician, The drive home takes me through neighborhoods gleaming with holiday decorations. Families gathering in warm living rooms, kids home from college for winter break. I wonder if any of them understand how fragile those connections are, how conditional family love can be. My apartment feels especially empty tonight. I drop my keys on the counter and sit on the couch without bothering to turn on the lights. In the glow of the small pre-lit Christmas tree, I open the album Mom made for my 25th birthday. Family photos, each one carefully chosen to show our perfect, educated, upper-middle-class family. My phone buzzes with a text. I expect Mom again, perhaps with details about that rain-check lunch that will never happen. Instead, it's Lucas. My cousin has always been the truth teller in the family. "Hey, cuz, heard about Christmas dinner. You okay?" I start to type a casual response, but another message appears before I can finish. "Talia told Aunt Barbara she didn't want you there because she didn't want Miles's parents thinking your family is from a working-class background." Direct quote. "Thought you should know." My fingers go numb. The phone slips from my hand onto the carpet. All this time, all this money, and my sister is ashamed of me. I pick up my laptop, open the university payment portal, and hover my finger over the Remove Payment Method button. What would you do if your family was ashamed of you while secretly benefiting from your success? The numbers glow blue-white from my laptop screen, illuminating my face in the dark apartment. $17,400 to Brookfield University, the 3rd of September. $4,250 for student housing supplement, the 15th of October. $876 for required course materials, the 28th of August. I scroll backward through my bank statements, month after month, year after year. The payments stretch back like breadcrumbs marking a path I've walked blindly. Jesus Christ, I whisper, tapping keys to create a spreadsheet. My fingers, still smelling faintly of copper wire and electrical tape, move rapidly across the keyboard. I track each payment: tuition, housing, books, emergency transfers, when Talia claimed the meal plan didn't cover enough. The total appears at the bottom of my screen: $68,427. 4 years of trade school would have cost me less than what I've paid for 2 years of Talia's education. 2/3 of a down payment on that warehouse space near downtown. A lifetime of Christmas dinners I'm apparently not good enough to attend. My coffee has gone cold, but I drink it anyway, the bitter taste matching my mood. I remember Mom's voice last spring, the practiced sympathy when I mentioned needing a new work truck. "But sweetie, you just bought one 3 years ago. Talia needs this money for her education, has such potential." Potential. The word Mom never used for me. Another memory surfaces, Dad examining my first business cards, his slight frown. "Thompson Electrical. It's just money, Maya. You make plenty with your work." The hesitation before work hung in the air like cigarette smoke, unwanted, clinging, impossible to ignore. The words replay in my head as I click through more statements. April, $2,100 for summer research program fee. June, $3,250 for international study materials. My modest one-bedroom apartment suddenly feels stifling. The pre-lit Christmas tree in the corner, the one I bothered putting up despite spending the holiday alone, casts shadows that crawl up the walls. My phone buzzes with a text from the university portal. Spring tuition due, $17,400. Payment due by the 3rd of January. The familiar prompt glows on my screen, the payment information saved for automatic processing. My finger hovers over the mouse. One click and I'll continue this arrangement, this one-sided contract, where I pay not just with money but with dignity. The truth crystallizes, sharp and clear as ice. They're not just embarrassed by meth, they're using me. I click payment options instead, then payment methods, then remove card. "Are you sure you want to remove this payment method?" Never been more sure of anything in my life. I click confirm, and a weight lifts from my chest, not completely gone, but lighter. "No more," I say to the empty room. 3 hours later, my phone lights up. Talia. Then again, and again. I let it ring. The texts start rolling in. Maya, there's some problem with the tuition payment. It says payment method removed. Call me as soon as possible. This isn't funny. I can't register for classes without this clearing. Call me back right now. I silence the phone and place it face down on the coffee table. For the first time in years, I feel a curious sense of power. The phone rings again an hour later. Lucas. Hey, I answer, suddenly grateful for his voice. Just checking on you. Guessing from the nuclear meltdown happening at Mom and Dad's that you made a decision about the tuition. I removed my payment information from the university portal. A low whistle comes through the speaker. Damn, cousin. About time. That bad, huh? They've been taking advantage of you for years, Maya. You know that, right? Talia stormed out of Christmas dinner after getting some notification on her phone. She's freaking out. Something warm unfurls in my chest, not satisfaction exactly, but the knowledge that I'm not completely alone. Thanks for calling, Lucas. Hey, that's what family is supposed to do. Actually support each other. After we hang up, I open my laptop again. A new email has arrived from Brookfield University. Final notice. Payment required within 48 hours to maintain enrollment status. Below it, 3 voicemails from Talia, each one increasingly frantic. I delete them without listening. The countdown has begun. I walk to the Christmas tree and unplug it. The sudden darkness feels right. Instead of dwelling on the calls and texts that will inevitably continue, I head to my small workshop corner. My hands find a half-finished lamp project I've been meaning to complete. Working with wire and sockets has always centered me. Each connection serves a purpose. Electricity follows rules that don't change based on social status or family expectations. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. I could sit here alone, marinating in resentment, or I could do something different. Mrs. Abernathy, my elderly client from the Highlands neighborhood, mentioned she'd be alone for the holiday. She always brings me coffee when I'm fixing her outdated wiring. Tells me stories about her late husband, who was a carpenter. A person who actually appreciates my skills. I pick up my phone and dial her number. Mrs. Abernathy, it's Maya Thompson. I was wondering if you'd like some company tomorrow. Later, as I slide between cold sheets, a strange peace settles over me. For the first time in years, I've chosen my own worth over their approval. Whatever happens next, I've stopped being an ATM with a pulse. The rest is up to them. The shop door jingles open, bringing in January's bite. Celia balances a stack of mail, her silver-streaked bob swinging as she sets it down. Your mother called. Again. She taps the counter. That's 5 times since 8. I check my watch noon. What'd you tell her? Same as yesterday. Miss Thompson is unavailable. My phone buzzes. Dad. I silence it without answering. The voicemail notification joins 17 others I haven't touched. Alone in my truck during lunch, I finally press play. Maya Elizabeth. Dad's voice carries that stern tone from my teenage years. This isn't how we raised you. Whatever disagreement you're having with your sister, you don't put someone's education at risk. Call us back. I delete it, move to the next. Mom's tearful voice fills the cab. How could you do this to your sister? She's devastated. Miles broke things off, and now the school says she'll lose her spot. All because you. I hit delete. The knot between my shoulder blades tightens as I drive to my afternoon call. Mrs. Abernathy's Victorian sits like a grande dame among newer builds. 83 and just as stubborn as her house, she greets me in a cardigan that's seen better days. Thank God you're here. The lights keep flickering, and I smell something burning. The problem reveals itself in the electrical panel ancient, cloth-wrapped copper wiring deteriorating at the connection points. This is dangerous. I show her where the insulation has worn away. One spark and this woodwork becomes kindling. For the next 2 hours, I lose myself in the work. I trace circuits, replace rotted wiring, install modern safety features. My hands know what to do, giving my mind space to breathe away from family drama. Mrs. Abernathy appears with tea as I secure the last connection. You're a godsend, Maya. She sets the mug on an antique table. My son wanted me to sell this place, said it wasn't safe. Now I can tell him his mother isn't about to burn to death in her sleep. Just doing my job. No, dear. She pats my arm, paper, thin skin cool against mine. What you do matters. Not everyone appreciates skilled hands these days, but some of us still do. The simple validation loosens something in my chest as I drive away. The contrast between her genuine appreciation and my family's dismissal settles like a stone. I deserve better than this. Back at my truck, my phone chimes. Not family Alicia, a college friend who stayed in touch despite our different paths. What's going on with you and Talia? Her social posts make it sound like you murdered her puppy. I open Instagram. Talia's update appears at the top. Some people choose money over family. Disgusting. True colors always show eventually. 300 likes already. Texts flood in from acquaintances. Hey, you okay? Talia's posts seem intense. And, what did you do to your sister? I close the app. The temptation to fire back burns in my throat, but getting dragged into a social media war would only feed the drama Talia craves. The office buzzes with activity when I return. Jimmy, my senior electrician, raises an eyebrow. Your sister called twice. What'd she want? Said it was a family emergency. Celia told her you were meeting with investors about expanding the business. Everyone here has your back, adds Rosa, my newest hire. Your father called too. I told him you were teaching me to wire a three-way switch. She holds up her practice board. Which wasn't a lie. Got it right on the third try. Warmth spreads through my chest, not the burning anger from before, but something steadier. My employees see my value. My clients respect my work. A crash interrupts as the front door flies open. Talia stands in the doorway, makeup streaked down her flushed face, designer coat dusted with snow. You've ruined my life. Her voice pitches high. I'm going to be kicked out of school. The entire office freezes for employees, 2 waiting customers, all staring at my sister's meltdown. I step forward, keeping my voice level. Talia, this isn't the place. When is the place? She stalks toward me. You won't answer my calls or texts. The school wants payment by Friday. Jimmy moves protectively closer. The customers shift uncomfortably. We can talk privately in my office, I say. No. She slams her hand on the counter. You humiliated me publicly. We'll talk about it publicly. A surprising calm settles over me. I didn't ruin your life, Talia. The words come out steady. I just stopped funding it. The silence feels physical. Talia stares, mouth opening and closing without sound, clearly unused to anyone standing firm against her tears. But Miles broke up with me when he found out you were paying. The words burst from her before she can stop them. And there it is, the truth I didn't know I was waiting for. Jimmy clears his throat. Ma'am, she just stopped letting you take advantage of her. Talia whirls on him. This isn't your business. Actually, I say quietly, it is his business. Literally. Thompson Electrical. I straighten my shoulders. And I think you should leave now. You can't just... Celia, please call security. My sister's face crumples. For a second, I see the little girl who used to beg me to fix her toys. Then her eyes harden and she turns, sobbing dramatically as she pushes through the door. The shop remains silent after she leaves. Then Rosa gives a low whistle. Boss, that was something. Jimmy nods. Something good. For the first time in weeks, a genuine smile tugs at my lips. I turn back to the scheduling board, writing tomorrow's appointments with steady hands. Let's finish today's paperwork. We've got that commercial job starting tomorrow. As my team returns to work with newfound respect, I feel something shift inside me, like a circuit finally connecting properly after years of faulty wiring. The family drama isn't over, but I'm no longer dreading the next confrontation. I am Maya Thompson, owner of Thompson Electrical, and I'm done letting anyone dim my power. The financial advisor shifts through my statements, her glasses slipping down her nose. The late January sun filters through her downtown office windows, catching dust motes that dance between us. 2 blocks from my shop, in a world that never intersects with my family's, I watch her process what I've just told her. Let me get this straight. She removes her glasses, polishing them with a microfiber cloth. You've been supporting your sister's education for 4 years? Since I opened my business? Her pen taps against the spreadsheet printout. That's a substantial commitment for someone building a company. I nod, studying the numbers that document years of my labor flowing into Talia's future. $68,000. Down payments on dreams I deferred. Vacations never taken. Equipment upgrades postponed. And now you're redirecting these funds to your own retirement? The corners of my mouth lift. Simple words that represent seismic change. Not anymore. She smiles, the first person to truly understand what this means. Let's make your money work for you for a change. 2 hours later, I walk out with a binder containing my financial future. The weight feels right in my hand, solid, tangible, mine. The retirement account paperwork bears my name, funded with the $17,400 that would have paid Talia's spring tuition. My phone buzzes. Mom, the 4th call today. I silence it and head back to work. Maya, please, we need to talk about this. My mother's voice wavers as she stands in my shop's front office, her camel hair coat buttoned wrong in her haste. My father looms behind her, his jaw clenched in that familiar way that used to make me scramble to fix whatever had disappointed him. I glance at the clock. 10 minutes before my next client meeting. This isn't the place, Mom. Where is the place? Dad steps forward. You won't answer our calls. You returned our letters. Talia's losing her spot in the program. Mom's mascara has smudged beneath her right eye. Everything she's worked for. Everything I've paid for, I correct, keeping my voice level. The receptionist pretends not to listen, but I catch her slight nod. We need to discuss this as a family. Dad's tone shifts to the authoritative rumble he used whenever he handed down decisions at our dinner table. My business is not the place for this conversation. I stand, smoothing my Thompson electrical polo. I have clients waiting. Their stunned expressions follow me as I walk past them into the workshop. Jackson's Diner hums with the lunch crowd. 4 of my employees squeeze around a corner booth with me, celebrating Rose's first solo residential job. To the newest full-fledged electrician at Thompson, I raise my water glass, perfectly executed to code. Rosa beams. 23, and already more skilled than half the men who applied for the same apprenticeship. Speaking of execution, Jeff says between bites of his club sandwich, "You handled your parents like a pro yesterday." The table falls quiet. They all know now how I funded Talia's education, how my family kept me away from Christmas dinner. Sorry, Jeff backpedals, not my business. It's okay. Something shifts inside me, the realization that these people see me clearly and value what they see. I'm done being an ATM for people ashamed of how I make my money. Marcus, my senior electrician, nods. About time. The conversation moves on, but something lingers, a new comfort in being known and appreciated for my actual worth. Maya, it's Mom. Please call me back. I put the phone on speaker as I review blueprints for a commercial building renovation. Talia's moving back home. She's lost everything because of you. The old guilt rises, but settles faster than before. Her advisor says she can't reapply until fall semester, and there's no guarantee they'll accept her. She's devastated. I mark a correction on the plans, circling a junction box placement. Can't you help her just this once, for family? My pen hovers over the paper, for family. The same family that couldn't bear to have me at their Christmas table. When the phone rings again 5 minutes later, I answer. Maya, thank God. Did you get my message? Talia needs. Find another ATM. The silence stretches. What? You heard me. I hang up, my hands steady. The warehouse space echoes with potential 2,500 square feet of concrete flooring, high ceilings, roll-up doors. Perfect for expanding Thompson Electrical. The previous tenant's improvements remain, the realtor explains, pointing to the updated electrical panel I've already examined. You just need cosmetic changes. The down payment, $15,000, would have covered most of Talia's spring tuition. Now it buys my future instead. I'll take it. 2 weeks later, I hang the expanded Thompson electrical sign and interview a pair of apprentices, both women, transitioning from other careers. My retirement account grows with each check that doesn't go to Talia's university. Lucas drops by with takeout to celebrate my expansion. They're falling apart, he reports, leaning against a newly installed workbench. Talia's boyfriend disappeared once he learned she wasn't actually from money. Aunt Deborah keeps making excuses to her garden club about why Talia's suddenly home. Not my problem. No, he studies me. You look good, Maya. Better. The next evening, I stand before 30 high school students at a trade school career day. My calloused hands gesturing as I explain how electrical work combines physical skill with problem solving. You don't need a 4-year degree to build something meaningful, I tell a girl in the front row who reminds me of myself at 16. Sometimes the most valuable connections aren't on circuit boards at all. Her eyes light up with possibility, the same electricity I finally allowed to power my own life. The Christmas card arrives exactly 1 year after the exclusion, my mother's familiar handwriting looping across the envelope. Inside, tucked behind a glossy photo of my parents and Talia in matching sweaters, sits a check for $500. A small gift, reads the note. We miss you. I place it on my kitchen counter beside 3 voicemails from Mom, each more carefully scripted than the last. It's not the same without you, she'd said in the most recent one. The calculated warmth in her voice couldn't mask the rehearsed quality of her words. The phone rings again. Uncle Steve, this time one of the neutral parties dispatched to soften me up. Maya, honey, it's been a year. Don't you think it's time to be the bigger person? I run my thumb across the edge of the check, feeling the slight ridge of the signature. I appreciate your concern, Uncle Steve. Your sister's really changed, you know. She talks about how much she's learned. On cue, my phone buzzes with a text from Talia. I've learned my lesson. Can we please talk? 3 old friends from high school have already called this week. Family is everything, said one. You'll regret holding grudges, warned another. The coordinated pressure campaign builds with each passing day. The coffee shop sits halfway between my apartment and my parents' house in neutral territory. I arrive 15 minutes early, claiming a corner table with clear sightlines to the door. When they enter, I see it immediately. The rehearsed approach. Dad leads, Mom slightly behind with a practiced, worried expression. Talia bringing up the rear with perfect humility painted across her face. Maya. Mom breathes my name like a prayer of thanksgiving. You look wonderful. I don't rise for hugs. Thanks for meeting me. They settle into their chairs with the careful movements of people who've discussed every aspect of this encounter in advance. Dad orders for everyone other controlled tactic while Mom touches my hand tentatively. We've missed you terribly, she says. The holidays weren't the same. Talia keeps her eyes downcast. I want to apologize for everything. Her voice carries the perfect tremor of sincerity. I was selfish and ungrateful. Dad nods approvingly. We all made mistakes. The important thing is moving forward as a family. I let the silence stretch until the barista delivers our drinks. Then I reach down and place a manila folder on the table. What's this? Mom asks, her smile faltering. Evidence. I open it to reveal neatly arranged payment receipts, bank statements, and printed text messages spanning 5 years. $68,000 in tuition payments. 17 texts where Talia asks for money. 6 conversations where you suggested I should help out with her education. I flip to the next page. And these are the messages where Talia told friends her parents were funding her education. The color drains from Talia's face. Dad reaches for the folder, but I slide it out of reach. I didn't come to argue or accuse, I say, my voice level. My hands, which have installed complex electrical systems in 50-foot ceilings, don't tremble. I came to establish terms. Terms? Dad's authoritative tone wavers. You need to understand that my work has value. My life has value. The words emerge without heat, shaped by a year of careful consideration. I won't fund anyone who's ashamed to acknowledge me. Talia's carefully crafted composure crumbles. That's not fair. What's not fair, I cut in, is taking $17,000 from someone while telling people they're beneath you. Mom jumps in, her voice rising. We never asked you to pay for everything. That was your choice. You're right. I nod, surprising her. It was my choice. Just like it's my choice now to establish boundaries. Dad tries to reclaim his authority. Now listen, Maya, there's no need for. This isn't negotiable. I pull out the Christmas check, tear it neatly in half, and place the pieces on the table. I don't want your money. I want your respect. The torn check transforms their expressions. Mom's lips part in shock. Dad's jaw tightens. Talia stares at the ripped paper as though it's a physical wound. I'm open to building a new relationship. I continue, gathering the folder and sliding it back into my bag, but not continuing the old one. So that's it, Talia whispers. You're cutting us off completely? These are my terms. I level my gaze at each of them in turn. 1. No more lies about who I am or what I do. 2. No more financial expectations. 3. My achievements deserve the same respect you give Talia's. Mom's carefully controlled facade breaks. For the first time in years, I glimpse something genuine in her eyes: fear, confusion, and perhaps a flicker of respect. My worth isn't measured by what I can give you, I add, standing up. If you want me in your lives, it will be as the electrician I am, not the banker you wanted. Dad stares at the torn check, the familiar family power dynamic shattered on a laminate coffee shop table. The choice is yours. I button my coat with steady hands. Merry Christmas. Outside, snow has begun to fall, covering the parking lot in a clean white blanket. I breathe deeply, tasting freedom in the crisp December air. The weight I've carried for years slides from my shoulders like meltwater. The new Thompson electrical sign gleams in the December sunshine. 3 vans, not just my old reliable one, line the building, each emblazoned with our logo. My logo. Inside, the workshop hums with activity. Jesse, my newest apprentice, stands at the workbench measuring conduit while Mark reviews a blueprint with Danny. 5 employees now. 2 of them women breaking into the trade just like I did. The shop smells of coffee and copper, of honest work and earned respect. Morning, boss, Jessie calls, pushing her safety glasses up. The Riverside contract wants us to bid on phase 2. I nod, satisfaction warming my chest. Send them our availability. We're booked through February, but we can start March 1st. Tonight's Christmas gathering fills my new home with laughter. The craftsman with good bones and better wiring picked for me, not to impress anyone else. My tree sparkles with simple white lights, no color-coordinated ornaments like Mom's perfect display. Lucas raises his glass toward my electrical certification framed on the wall. To doing what you love. My friends clink glasses. None of them ask what I can do for them. None of them hide me away when important people visit. Here, I'm enough calloused hands and all. Later, Lucas helps clear dessert plates. Saw Talia yesterday, at the mall. My grip tightens on a fork. And? She's working at Nordstrom, selling shoes. He pauses. Mom and Dad's retirement took a hit, and without your contributions, they're feeling it. Talia moved back home. Not my problem, I say, but the words lack the edge they carried months ago. They're learning, Lucas says quietly. Talia cried when a customer treated her like she was invisible, said it made her think of you. That night, after everyone leaves, my phone chimes with a text. From Mom, we're having Christmas dinner next Saturday at 5. We'd be honored if you could join us. No pressure. I stare at those words: honored, not expected. No pressure, not you should. For the first time, the choice is truly mine. Not an obligation, not a transaction. 3 days later, I sign the paperwork for the Thompson Electrical Scholarship, fund $5,000 annually for women entering the trade. The attorney smiles as she hands me the completed forms. You're making quite an impact, she says. One of your apprentices mentioned you took her on after her father said electrical work wasn't for women. I think of Talia's struggle now. Facing what I've known for years, the world doesn't care about your pedigree, only what you contribute. My standing firm has sent ripples beyond our family dinner table. Saturday evening, I park in my parents' driveway. Christmas lights outline the windows, the same as always, yet they look different now, less like a showcase, more like simple celebration. A framed photograph sits on the passenger seat, me with my team in front of the shop. Not an apology. A statement. At the front door, I hesitate, catching my reflection in the glass, shoulders back, chin high. The woman who once silently funded her sister's degree while accepting scraps of approval has vanished. In her place stands someone who knows her worth isn't measured by family approval. I take a deep breath and ring the bell. Dad opens the door, surprise flickering across his face. Maya, you came. Mom hurries forward, taking my coat without the usual critique of my practical clothes. Her eyes hold uncertainty, maybe even regret. In the dining room, Talia sits quietly. Her nails are short now, unpolished. Working hands. Her designer clothes replaced by something simpler. That scholarship program of yours, she says, voice soft. The local paper did an article. Not jealousy in her tone. Something new. Respect. I'm applying to technical college, she adds, meeting my eyes directly. Business administration. More practical than theoretical economics. Mom squeezes my hand as I take my seat. We've missed you. I lift my glass, meeting each pair of eyes around the table. To new beginnings, I say, based on truth. Dad nods. A simple acknowledgement worth more than empty praise. What does family really mean? Those bound by blood, or those who value your worth? I chose to give a second chance from a position of strength. Looking around this table, I wonder, would you have done the same?